friends. I have read 120 books this year. That's a lot of books, and I thought I would go through them quickly, or as quickly as you can go through 120 books. Okay, first some background information. I really like reading. I read all the time, or if I'm not physically reading, I'm listening audiobooks. And on top of the fact that I read a lot, I read everything. I read poetry, comics, novels. Not everything I have read this year so far has been a 300-page novel, but we have read a lot of those as well. And I'm also studying to become a librarian, so books are basically going to be my job. That's how I have read 120 books in 4 months. I also read a lot of library books, mostly library books, so I don't physically have them with me, so let's hope editor me remembers to add the book covers on the screen. So this is all the 120 books I have read this year so far in one sentence or so. I have a longer review on every book on my Goodreads. If you want to read more, I have it linked down below in the information box. I started the year finishing my rereading of Paradise Kiss, which is one of my favorite mangas of all time. It's still one of my favorite mangas of all time. The girls may be good, but the book wasn't. Sorry, I did not like this one at all. This book made me very glad of the fact that I do not have wallpaper in my apartment. I listened to the audiobook in almost one go, and it's a long book. I was obsessed with this one. An anxious prince and stoic bodyguard. Yes, sign me up. Heaven of Thistle's Blessings is so good. I read the volume 3. I have the rest of the volumes as well, but I can't bring myself to read them because I don't want the series to end. I'm obsessed with these two. I love books that make me feel like I should chew on glass or set something on fire. I have read a lot of stories from Edgar Allan Poe, and this one is no. I have always known that I do not want to be a mother, and this book only made me more sure of that fact. It's Brittany. I love Brittany. Brilliant book, and as someone who consumes a lot of true crime content, it was really interesting to read, but I do think I would have enjoyed it more as a physical copy than I did as an audiobook. Nancy Drew books are actually one of the book series that got me into reading when I was younger, and I really love them even now, but definitely not my favorite story. This was recommended by my friend from school, and it's her favorite book. I don't like romance, but I actually did enjoy this one, and I really related to Molly. She has no sense of direction, has no social skills, and her best friend is her mom, which is like, that's me. Hey mom. Prince who likes wearing dresses and his dressmaker. I'm obsessed. I love art. I really love art. I absolutely adore Scarlet and Ivy, and I have been putting off reading this book for such a long time because I didn't want to leave Crookhaven behind. Even though it's not a school I would like to attend, but it was just such nice series. I really loved them. Just simply beautiful. There's 5 books in this series. I read the first 2 books when I was younger, and I absolutely loved them back then, but the rest of the series was never translated into Finnish, so I couldn't read them as a child. Now that I found them in English at the library, I picked them up to make younger me happy, and well, let's just say I hope she is happy, because I did not like these books. Dogwood, my teacher from high school. All poetry is good poetry as long as it makes you feel something. It wasn't a bad collection of poetry, it just made me feel nothing. Literally couldn't put this book down. It was so good. I'm still thinking about it. For fans of Studio Ghibli and the Tea-Dragon Society, I love both, and I absolutely loved this one as well. I hope esteemed Clark J is enjoying his vacation. I had camera issues, but I think I fixed it without calling my dad. An antisocial lesbian with trans characters with cheerleading. Yes, love that. Mieko Kawamaki, you are a genius. I love you. This quote from the book. I was so scared of being hurt that I would do nothing. I was so scared of failing, of being hurt, that I chose nothing. I did nothing. I need to lie down for a moment. I want this book like a best friend. It made me laugh, it made me cry, and I really loved it. If you were to ask what would be my perfect book, I would say Fake Dating, Enemies to Lovers, Sports and Lesbians. And this one ticks all those little boxes. Get Out meets Gossip Girl sounds like a dream. As a person who did watch Gossip Girl and learned the lesson to never trust anyone, I still somehow managed to get surprised. Also, I'm not one to get scared easily when reading something, but I was reading this at the middle of the night and I had to turn the lights on because I was scared. I was like, what if someone is watching me through my window? I live on the 8th floor. This seems to be a rather unpopular opinion online, but I hated this book. 1 star is too much for this book. Like, I could not stand it. I wish I could take it out of my brain. I do not want to remember this book. I will let you know if I ever read a worse book than this. Then I read one of the best books I have read this year. I listened to the audiobook and it lasts about 17 hours or something, and I just couldn't stop. I just kept listening and listening. I cried so much. It's insane. Katrina is such an amazing character. I really loved her. 5 star is too little for this book. I want to give it 10. If you want to pick something from Finnish author, pick this one. You can get lost in every book, but you will never forget yourself the way God forgets his hands. I really loved this collection, but that line, Osan Wong, amazing. Thank you. After finishing this book, I said I need about 3 business days to recover from it, but it's been 2 months and I still can't get over it. It was amazing, the art is amazing. I hope the author's pillow is always cool on both sides. This was incredible book. I loved it so much. Ari is probably one of my favorite main characters I have ever come across in a book. Louis is so lucky he's fictional character, because if he was real, I would ruin his life. I liked the idea more than I liked the actual book. We're not even halfway through yet. This is gonna take forever. With this as well, I liked the idea a lot, but I feel like we needed more. The story didn't feel complete. Amazing book, I really loved the idea of it. I just think it was really hard to read, especially as a person who does not speak English as their first language, even though I do consider myself fluent. A Finnish classic, and one of the only books I read for school this year and actually did like. It was really funny, and I kind of want to go to an adventure in Finland, forests with a rabbit. I also saw a cat. Okay, if the lighting changed, it's because I took a nap and the sun has moved. Let's get through the last books. There is a lot. I'm not going to count how many because I'm studying to become a librarian, so I don't have to do math. Stunning, dreamy, beautiful art. Loved it. Tiny T-Rex is one of the cutest picture books I have ever come across in my life. I'm obsessed. Love them. Beautiful visual poem, and as a person who has very complicated relationship with their hair, it was very comforting to read. I love reading rich people drama, but not gonna lie, this was kind of boring and I did not care about what happened. This author made me feel more things in 100 pages than most managed to do in hundreds more. Obsessed. Absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to get my hands on the rest of the books. It was so beautiful. Jung Mungo did some emotional damage. I am still recovering from that. I waited 3 years for this book to be published, and it turned out to be one of my favorite books of all time. I'm obsessed with it. I cannot wait for the next one. The story reads like a poem and it was so beautiful, so magical, and it made me feel like a child reading a fairy tale, and I have really missed that feeling. It was amazing. I want to work in a library with a mouse. Is that too much to ask? Whenever I have a bad day, I always can find comfort in the fact that I had a better day than the main character in this book did. I have to disagree. I don't think it was perfect on paper. I have been making fun of this book for years because of the name, and then I read it and it's one of the best manga I have ever read in my life, and it made me cry, and I would like to publicly say sorry for making fun of the book's name. Next time I'm visiting Paris, I want to explore the catacombs because that sounds like a fun time. And I read 9 Finnish poetry collections, and I read them quite a while ago and back to back, so they have kinda blended in together in my mind, so I don't really have anything to say about them. I read them for school things, so I'm actually really scared of dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs in this book look kind of scary, but it's the first time I have actually read a picture book about the dyslexia, and I wish I had read a book like this when I was younger, because I didn't learn I was a dyslexic until I was in high school, and that was a life-changing moment for me. Last day, Julian was my best friend sounds so dramatic. It was not that dramatic, but now that I think about it, when you're a child, everything seems dramatic and life-changing, so it was great. I like it. I love witches and animals, and it was so good. The art is amazing. Small town with creepy mystery and family secrets sounds amazing. I was expecting it to be a little more scary than it was, and I had a really hard time reading the font. I will always love characters named after numbers because, well, Nana, my all-time favorite manga, so that influenced a lot my reading experience with this one, but it was really fun actually. One of the best comics I have ever read. I was obsessed with it. It was such a good story. I was so disappointed when it ended because I wanted to know more. Confession time. I did not know who Megan Fox is before reading this collection, and I did not even like it very much. This was horribly graphic and gory, but I absolutely loved the book. It rewired my brain chemistry, and I will never not be thinking about this book. I cannot even put it into words how much I loved this manga. It's so cute, adorable, beautiful, amazing, never been done before. I really loved it. I haven't been able to get my hands on the rest of the books, but I'm working on it. I honestly kind of forgot I haven't read this poetry collection, but now that I'm looking at the cover again, I do remember it, and I did like it. If you need to know one thing about me, it's that I am a Winx Club fan before I am a human. I love Winx Club. This picture book was so adorable. It was so cute. I loved it so much. I don't know who is more surprised, you or me, that I gave this book only 3 stars. This was an amazing collection of comics, and my only wish is that it was longer. I really loved the stories and I would have loved to read more of them. Let's not talk about that one. I can't say no to The Lonely Girl. I can't say no to the manga. Love is not the answer. The comic is pink. What else do you need to know? I like pink, if you can't tell. The more I read short story collections, the more sure I'm of the fact that short story collections are not for me. When I get into the story, it already ends. Darius the Great is not okay. Well, neither am I. Really beautiful graphic novel. It was really touching and I may have cried. This is the first volume and I feel like it was too short. I didn't really get to know any of the characters really well, and I feel like nothing really happened that much. It's a beautiful book, but the font was impossible for me to read, so that completely ruined my reading experience. No, just no. It's only been 2 volumes, but it feels like a new favorite horror manga series. It was amazing. Loved it. This was a really beautiful collection of poetry and I really loved it. Under and Santi were here, you know where they will always be, in my heart. A supernatural all-girl rock band? Yes, sign me up. I have been suspecting for a long time that Mahmoud Darwish may be the greatest poet of all time. The author of Serial Killer and A Camp for Horror-Obsessed Girls sounds amazing. It was very gory and I had to turn the lights on in the middle of the night. So, take that as you will. This book is called A Masterpiece. And is it me? Maybe, I don't know, but I don't agree. Then I read 3 poetry collections, which all kinda just blurred into each other because I listened to them as audiobooks before going to bed. So, Olli Alonen, if you're out there, I have one question. How does the daughter get home? I don't understand. How does the daughter get home? This has some of the most beautiful art I have ever seen in my life. The story is such a magical thing, I'm really excited. Except my library does not have more than the first 2 volumes, so I don't know where I'm supposed to read the next ones. It has not even been that long and I do not remember a single thing that happened in this book. Space Case. Do I have to say more? My childhood dream was to become a pirate, so I love that. As for the Azula one, she's one of my favorite characters and still I think it was kind of boring. This book nearly was the death of me. I did not like it at all. For one very specific reason, which is a spoiler, so. A very interesting and informative read. It was just, I listened to the audiobook and there were so many names and years and I just couldn't keep up. I love Mulan. 15 books left, Suvi, you can do it. I don't know if it's because I'm older now, but it just didn't hit the same. The Finnish translation just was kind of wonky. I don't know, did the translator change or something? But it was good, fun time, but it's just, I don't know what to say about this book. It's just, I thought I would love it, but I just didn't. This was such a beautiful graphic novel. I want to give this book a hug. This one was sold to me as Cemetery Boys meets The Haunting of Bly Manor, which both I absolutely love, so it couldn't meet the expectations. But it was still a good book. Really beautiful, sad poetry. I used this one more to practice my Japanese reading than actually focus on the story itself. It was really fun and I'm hoping to do a study abroad in Japan later in my studies and I'm hoping my time there would be something like this. This is Ground Control to Major Tom. It instantly became one of my favorites. It's so beautiful, it's told in verse and it's amazing. Please, I don't know what to say, it's great, please read it. I loved it so much, it was so good. Oh. I loved it so much that I'm planning to get the line of the book tattooed on me. I haven't just settled on which line yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. This could have been good if it wasn't for the references to pedophilia, which made it absolutely horrible to read. I'm not sure why did I ever read this one, because I didn't really like Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I just can't stand the main character for some reason. But it passed the time and I was correct and Pip wasn't. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of that. Loved the TV series made of this manga and I finally started reading it and I really love it. The main character really is one clueless idiot and I love him for that. This was a really nice collection, but it also didn't really touch me in any way. It was sapphic horror with K-pop. I thought I was going to love this and it was okay, but I was expecting more. I don't know. And the last book which I actually finished only this morning is this absolutely adorable picture book. It was so cute. Okay, that's all the 120 books I have read this year. I have read a lot of good books, but then I have also read a lot of not so good books. If you want, please do let me know how many books you have read this year. What's your favorite book? Did you like any of my favorites I have read this year? I'm hoping to read a lot more good books this year. I am not going to make a video like this again. I'm going to make hopefully monthly reading vlogs or the books I read in this month, because this one took a forever to film, so. But also I did mean to film a video like this every month, but then I just completely forgot about it, so. If you want to know my secret to reading a lot of books, it's the mental illness. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye!